Okay, amazing. Welcome everyone, and thanks so much for coming through on that Christmas evening to Caturday and Roots Club. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you here in the stream, basically in my performance space, the setup. So Amused and me are going to perform tonight for you to a special track that Amused created. And I designed the area and that we're going to perform on the other end of where I'm standing right now, this end, this side. And so I'm basically going to show you right here how my performance space looks like in real life. So I have a performance pole, like a sports pole in my space with the silicone wrap, so it's not impacted by the tracking glitches. And then I'm using 𝗘𝗍𝗻 trackers. I also use 𝗃 trackers, but I'm showing you the setup with the 𝗘𝗍𝗻 trackers today for the pole dancing specifically. So I'm using 6-point tracking in Somnium, and this is basically the belt, like for the hip tracking. So what I did here, I just used this general like fitness belt and put like a hole through and a camera screw, and then put the tracker on there. And it's really good because it's like super solid and it's really good to use. And I did something similar also for the legs straps. So these ones are also specifically for the pole dancing. Like they're a bit thicker, as you can see, and they've also just been like ankle straps for like fitness. Same as this belt. It's like usually for these exercises where you pull your legs apart. So you pull it around your legs and then you do these fitness exercises. But they go great just with like camera screws. So you make a hole, put the camera screw, and you have a really solid tracker strap. What you can also do, what I do sometimes, is using shoes, just like any kind of sport shoes that you might not use outside anymore that much. And you can put a camera screw through the hole of the shoe. So that's also really popular. And you could use your favorite shoes for dancing, and also you have the foot angle really well represented. And then I also use these ones for the pole dancing, like on the pole shoes. You have like a really good opportunity to make the strap around the top, basically. And again, that's also just a camera screw. Okay, then I'm going to show you my headset. What I'm using for the pole dancing is the 𝗘𝗍𝗻 Vive Pro with a wireless adapter, and I also mounted a fan on top because it overheats quite a bit. So this is basically just like a USB fan that goes directly into the wireless adapter. And then there's also just a USB cable like this with USB to USB that then connects to a battery pack. So this one here is like the small one. That's the one that I usually like to use for performances because it's like obviously better if it's smaller, but it also only lasts around like 1.5 to 2 hours. And I also have a bigger one for if I want to be longer in VR and have a bit more battery power. But obviously, as it's heavier, I don't like to use it for performances that much. Yeah, and as controllers, I'm using the Valve Index controller, these ones. So what is really good with those ones, especially for pole dancing, is that you can widen this slip and then you can put your whole hand through the controller and then like pull it again. And so like this, you basically have your hands free, which is super important, especially for pole dancing. So like this, I can just go ahead and grab the pole. Like that. You have your hands free. All right. So I think this was actually all of the setup already. And then if you have all of that on, you gotta calibrate inside of Somnium. And there's also a couple special things. But the main thing is just to stand in a T pose and press both of your trigger buttons. So just like that with all the trackers on, and then you can adjust your height afterwards. All right, I hope that gave you a little bit of insight into what we're doing here and like what's behind what you're gonna see in a minute or in maybe 5 minutes. If you have any questions, also feel free to ask them, and I'm happy to explain whatever things you're interested in. And I can hear you in world, like I have my avatar right over there, so if there's any questions, I can hear you like that. Yeah, currently my big battery lasts for 4 hours max, but like I would say after 3.5 hours it gets wonky. But that's like this size, and it's like fairly heavy, like it's in the sleeve. And so I can also clip it to my belt. But yeah, it's a really heavy camera. It's a really heavy battery for a headset.
Okay, and then the second question from me would be, okay, now you showed us, let's say, 6-point tracking. When we release 11-point tracking in the beginning of next year, what will you, like, how would your performance change? Would you change actually anything or not?
Yes, so that's going to be super exciting. I have like a couple more trackers, for example, these two here, which are for the upper arms. The upper arms are a super important part, especially for dancing, because they help to represent your shoulders. Because right now you're approximating from the head to the hands with like artificial neck and shoulders, but these upper arm trackers can really give you a really nice representation of your shoulder movement, which is something that's really specific to dance and really interesting, as well as the same, like I have the same pair for the legs, for the upper legs, so through that I have a knee representation. So now you can imagine if I squat, now I can put my knees together and apart, and it will be recognized, whereas before it wasn't. And then the chest as well. So in Somnium currently there's no hip rotation in the IK movement, but if that is added as well as the chest tracking, there's a lot of freedom also for like showing like body movements, like flows and waves in the body. So that's also going to be super interesting. So yeah, I can't wait. That's for sure.
Yeah, us too. And one more question, just technical. What USB hub or what charger do you use to charge all the gear at the same time, like all the trackers? Because you have a lot of them.
Yeah, I have a lot of hubs. I have one multi-charger that's powered externally, and then I have another just like a multi-USB hub plugged to another like battery. But yeah, I have a couple of them with like all USB-C dongles on them too. Yeah.
All right. Okay, no more questions
yeah,
from
you
my
want to
side.
have a lot of USB-C chargers, that's for sure. Okay, cool. Yeah, then it's just going to take a minute until I'm jumping into my pole gear here. And in the meantime, you can also make your way over to the performance space if you like.
All right, where is the performance space?
Yes, it's over here. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Here?
I can hear you.
Yeah, okay, good.
Lead the way, lead the way.
Let's go.
I'm following you.
I will lead the way. It's over here. Ooh. Everybody. Okay. So this is the performance space. You can place yourself either where you want, either on the floor or on these little platforms around the bubble. The performers will be, or like me and Ruth will be inside of the bubble, so anywhere around is fine.
Bravo.
And
Thanks to you.
hopefully
Merry
see you soon.
Christmas.
Have a nice Christmas.
You too.
Thank you.